it was kneeling. That's the detail that sticks, the one that haunts every person who claims to have seen it. It's not just a wolf, not just a bear. It's something that kneels like a person. On a desolate stretch of road in southern Wisconsin, drivers have slammed on their brakes, their headlights freezing a 7-foot-tall creature with the head of a wolf and the body of a man. Its eyes glow back at them, a brilliant, hellish orange. They've seen it feasting on roadkill, holding the carcass with something that looks unnervingly like hands. This is the story of the Beast of Bray Road. But what if this modern-day monster isn't new at all? What if it's the terrifying result of ancient legends clashing in the American heartland? The modern monster. Elkhorn, Wisconsin. People call it the Christmas card town. It's a place of rolling hills and quiet dairy farms, the absolute last place you'd ever expect to find a monster. And yet, for decades, this peaceful community has been the epicenter of one of America's most chilling cryptid legends. The creature has many names: the Wisconsin Werewolf, the Bray Road Beast, or simply the Beast. The descriptions from those who've seen it are disturbingly consistent. Witnesses describe a massive, bipedal creature, standing between 6 and 7 feet tall with the powerful, muscular build of a bodybuilder. Its body is covered in thick, matted fur, usually dark brown or grayish black. It has the head of a wolf with a long snout, pointed ears, and terrifyingly sharp teeth. But two things truly petrify anyone who sees it: its ability to switch from running on all fours to walking upright, and its eyes, often reported as glowing a brilliant, hellish orange or red in the dead of night. Many accounts also mention a foul, overpowering stench, like rotting meat, that hangs in the air long after the creature has vanished. The legend exploded in the late 1980s and early 1990s, when a wave of sightings turned this local spooky story into a national phenomenon. People reported the creature chasing their cars, leaping onto their trunks, and staring them down from the roadside with an unnerving intelligence. Though sightings have become less frequent since the 1990s, the story was never just about a fleeting shadow. It was about a physical, terrifying presence that left people shaken to their core. But to understand where this modern monster came from, we have to look further back, to a time before the frenzy, to a single chilling encounter that's often seen as the legend's starting point. The first sighting. The story's earliest roots don't take hold on Bray Road itself, but a few miles away, near Jefferson, Wisconsin. The year was 1936. A night watchman named Mark Shackleman was making his rounds at the St. Coletta School for Exceptional Children, on grounds that included several ancient Native American burial mounds. Around midnight, he saw a figure hunched over one of the mounds, digging at the earth. Thinking it was just a man, he moved closer. But as his flashlight beam hit the figure, it caught the glint of fur and wolf-like features. Shackleman would later describe something with the muscular frame of a man, but covered in dark, shaggy hair. It had a wolf's face, but its eyes seemed chillingly intelligent. The creature stood up on two legs to a height well over 6 feet, let out a guttural sound that was neither animal nor human, and then fled into the woods. Shackleman, a former boxer, was shaken. He returned the next night and saw it again. He claimed it made a 3-syllable growl that sounded like Gadara. This bizarre detail, combined with the desecration of a sacred burial mound, planted the first seeds of a legend that would lie dormant for decades. For 50 years, the story was little more than a whisper. Every monster has an origin story, and many towns have their own dark secrets. What local legends or creatures are whispered about where you live? Let us know in the comments below. Because in the fall of 1989, the whispers in Wisconsin turned into a scream. The 90s frenzy and the reporter who broke the story. The modern era of the Beast of Bray Road began with a woman named Lorianne Endrizi. In the fall of 1989, She was driving home from her job as a bar manager just after 1:30 a.m. As she rounded a bend on Bray Road, she saw that kneeling figure by the roadside. She slowed, thinking it was a person. When she was just feet away, it turned to face her. It was huge, covered in gray-brown fur, with a wolf's face and fangs. She said it had the broad shoulders of a bodybuilder and was holding what looked like roadkill with its palms up, its fingers looking disturbingly human under the hair. She sped away, terrified but certain of what she'd seen. Her encounter was just the beginning. Soon, more reports flooded in. A dairy farmer named Scott Bray reported seeing a strange-looking dog in his pasture that was far larger than any normal canine. Then, on Halloween night in 1991, Doris Gibson was driving on Bray Road when she felt a massive thump, as if her car had been lifted off the road. When she got out to check, the road behind her was empty. Suddenly, a huge, hairy creature came charging at her from the woods. She scrambled back into her car just as the beast allegedly jumped onto her trunk, leaving deep scratches before it slid off as she sped away. These stories might have just remained local gossip if not for Linda Godfrey, a reporter for the Walworth County Week newspaper. Initially a skeptic, Godfrey was assigned to cover the strange sightings. She expected to debunk a hoax, but instead found sincere, terrified people whose stories were eerily consistent. The local animal control officer even showed her a folder he'd been keeping, labeled simply Werewolf. Godfrey's articles, and later her book, The Beast of Bray Road, brought the story to a national audience. She didn't claim to have all the answers, but she gave the legend a credibility it never had before, cementing her as the phenomenon's primary chronicler. The Folklore Deep Dive. So, what if these aren't just random monster encounters? What if they're a modern echo of ancient stories? This is where the tale of the Beast of Bray Road gets even more fascinating. The creature seems to be a terrifying synthesis, a monster born from the collision of two powerful folkloric traditions right in the American Midwest. First, consider the Native American legends. The very first sighting in 1936 happened on a Native American burial mound. For many indigenous cultures, particularly the Algonquian-speaking peoples, the line between the human and animal world was thin. They have stories of powerful spirits and shapeshifters. One creature from Iowa tribe folklore is the Shunka-Warakin, a massive wolf-like beast known for carrying off dogs and stalking villages without fear. These ancient stories of powerful, dangerous canine beings have permeated the landscape for centuries. European settlers, meanwhile, brought their own dark tales. The werewolf is a deeply rooted concept in their mythology, from Greek legends of men turned into wolves by angry gods to the werewolf trials that swept through Europe in the 16th and 17th centuries. People were executed for the crime of lycanthropy, accused of transforming into beasts that murdered children. In the melting pot of the American heartland, it's possible these two streams of folklore, the Native American shapeshifter and the European werewolf, collided. The result is a uniquely American monster. The Beast of Bray Road isn't just a werewolf in the classic sense. No one has ever reported seeing it transform back into a human. It's a physical, flesh and blood creature that embodies the attributes of both traditions. A bipedal wolfman, seen in the modern world, but forever tied to the ancient, sacred grounds of the past. Is the beast a modern version of a Native American shapeshifter, or a descendant of the European werewolf? Which ancient story do you think is bleeding into our world? Let us know your theory down below. Of course, not everyone believes this is the work of ancient legends. Alternative theories. Of course, not everyone believes a supernatural beast is stalking Wisconsin's backroads. So, what are the rational explanations? The most common theory is simple misidentification. Could a witness, seeing something in the dark from a speeding car, mistake a known animal for a monster? Wisconsin is home to black bears, and a large bear suffering from mange, which causes hair loss and looks shockingly unnatural, could fit the bill. Wolves are also making a comeback in the state, and an unusually large timber wolf is certainly intimidating. Then there's the idea of mass hysteria. Once Linda Godfrey's articles became popular, the idea of the beast was planted in the public consciousness. It's possible some subsequent sightings were influenced by the power of suggestion. A mind primed to see a werewolf might interpret a large dog or a deer in the shadows as something far more sinister. We also can't rule out hoaxes. An encounter on Halloween night, for example, could easily have been a prankster in a costume. But what keeps the legend alive are the primary witnesses and the strange details that defy easy explanation. The sincerity of the people who reported these encounters is hard to dismiss. The consistency in the descriptions, the bipedal stance, the muscular build, the glowing eyes, from people who didn't know each other is what makes this so compelling. And the reports of physical evidence, like the deep scratches on Doris Gibson's car, add another layer of mystery. So, what do you think is haunting Bray Road? Is it a flesh-and-blood cryptid, an undiscovered species of canine? Is it a supernatural entity born from a clash of ancient myths? Or is it simply a case of misidentification and folklore run wild? We want to hear your theories. Let us know in the comments below what you believe the Beast of Bray Road truly is. For decades, the Beast of Bray Road has held a tight grip on our imagination. It's more than just a local legend. It's a perfect storm of cryptozoology, folklore, and rural American mythology. The story begins with a dark figure digging on a sacred mound and evolves into a modern-day werewolf captured in the glare of headlights. It's a monster shaped by the ancient fears of the old world and the deep, often forgotten history of the new. We may never have a definitive answer, but the lack of proof is precisely what gives the legend its power. It exists in that space between fact and fiction, the known and the unknown. The stories from terrified eyewitnesses, the research of Linda Godfrey, and the powerful blend of cultural myths have ensured that the Beast of Bray Road will be whispered about for generations to come. It's a chilling reminder that even in our modern world, there are still dark, lonely roads where the shadows hold secrets, and the monsters of our oldest stories might just be waiting. And if you have your own theory, or another chilling legend you want us to investigate, tell us all about it in the comments.